Hey everyone, welcome back to Retro Reel Recaps. Today, we're talking about the movie The Lincoln Lawyer. This is a story of an exceptionally intelligent lawyer who takes on a wealthy playboy's assault case. But as he discovers his new client's secrets, he must navigate a deadly maze of corruption to survive his own victory. The movie begins, and we see Mickey Haller, LA defense attorney, and the best lawyer in town. He is going to the courthouse. His mind is very sharp, and he's keen to work. His friend Val Valenzuela stops him outside. A very rich man's son, Louis Roulet, has been arrested for hurting someone, and he needs a lawyer. The money offered is very good, so Mickey agrees to take the case right away. Before court begins, Mickey checks on another client, the leader of a motorcycle gang. Mickey wants to know why the gang leader still hasn't paid him. The boss tries to smooth things over, saying the payment is on its way. Soon after, the court hearing starts. Mickey asks the judge for more time, about a month, to collect witnesses and proof. The judge says yes. This makes the gang leader very angry. He wants to get out of jail immediately, not wait another month. Mickey stays very calm. He explains that if his client wants fast results, he needs to pay fast. After court ends, Mickey goes to the police station to see his new client, Louis. On the way there, he calls his assistant, Lorna. Before he starts talking, Mickey asks his driver, Earl, to put on headphones, because he does not want Earl to hear what he is about to say. Mickey then gives Lorna some instructions and tells her that a lot of money is coming their way. When the call ends, Mickey tells Earl to take the headphones off. Earl then asks Mickey if he can keep working as his driver after he gets his license back. Mickey tells Earl that he actually got his license back 3 months ago, and that Earl is not going anywhere. After saying this, Mickey smiles casually, and Earl feels happy about it. Soon after, Earl notices a group of bikers following the car. He points this out to Mickey. One of the bikers rides closer and signals for them to stop. Mickey is not afraid. He tells Earl to pull the car over. One of the bikers walks up and pushes Mickey, demanding that he get their boss out of jail fast. The biker says they are like family, and always use Mickey as their lawyer. Mickey listens, talks things through with him, and once he has paid $10,000, he agrees to help. He promises that the gang leader will be out of jail next month. At the police station, Mickey meets Louis and officially becomes his lawyer. Louis is happy but also clearly upset. He says he was framed and that he never hurt anyone. Mickey tells him to stay calm and to keep his voice down, especially with other people around. Later that same day, Mickey works quickly. He persuades the judge to grant bail to Louis. Instead of staying in jail, Louis can go home but must wear an ankle monitor so he cannot run away. The trial is set to start the next week. As Mickey is leaving the courthouse, he meets Louis's mother's personal assistant, Cecil Dobbs. He asks Mickey if he can get Mary Windsor's son out of trouble, and promises a huge payment if he wins. Dobbs also tells Mickey that he is being hired especially as per Louis's insistence. On hearing this, Mickey quickly asks for $100,000 raised. Dobbs agrees. Mickey then speaks with complete confidence, telling Dobbs not to doubt the best lawyer in the country. The next morning, Mickey and his assistant, Frank Levin, go to Mary's office. Mary, Dobbs, and Louis are all there. Before they even start talking, Mickey sets a firm rule. He says that Louis is his client, not his mother, and he asks Mary to leave the room. Mary is upset, but Dobbs stays because he now works for Louis. With the room finally arranged, Louis starts to explain what happened on the night of the supposed attack. He says he was drinking at a bar when he saw a hostess named Reggie Campo being very friendly with another man. After that man left, Reggie came over to Louis and gave him a note. The note had her address and her price for the night. When Reggie left the bar, Louis followed the address, believing he was going to spend a private evening with her. When Louis got to the apartment building, he saw that Reggie was still with the man from the bar, Charles Talbot. So Louis waited in his car until Charles finally drove away. Only then did Louis get out, walk up to the door, and knock. Reggie seemed happy to see him at first, but as soon as Louis stepped inside, someone hit him hard from behind and he blacked out. When he woke up, he was confused to find police officers putting him in handcuffs. Reggie's face was swollen and bruised, like someone had hit her. Louis was charged with assaulting her, and without getting a real chance to explain, he was taken directly to jail. After listening to Louis's story, Mickey told his assistant Frank to check it against Reggie's official police statement. Frank brought out the crime scene photos and read through the report. According to Reggie, Louis attacked her as soon as she opened the door, tried to force himself on her, and even held a knife to her. She said she fought back and knocked Louis out with a bottle to defend herself. Something about this didn't feel right to Mickey. He questioned Louis again, making sure he wasn't hiding anything. Louis swore he was set up and said he was telling the complete truth. Mickey looked him straight in the eye and warned him not to lie. Louis didn't back down, insisting he was innocent. Once Mickey felt he had the real story, he left. That evening at a bar, Mickey and Frank talked over the case. Mickey couldn't figure it out. If Louis was knocked out, then who had hurt Reggie? His thoughts turned to Charles, the man who was there before Louis. Mickey told Frank to look into him more. The next morning, Frank came to Mickey's house with security footage from the bar. The video showed Reggie with Charles. As they watched, Frank spotted a key detail. Charles was left-handed. That fact made everything fall into place. The bruises on the right side of Reggie's face matched a hit from a left-handed person. Feeling sure they had strong evidence, Mickey went to meet the prosecutor, Ted Minton, to share what they found. Mickey thought the video would be enough to get the case thrown out, but even after seeing everything, the prosecutor refused to drop the charges. He said he would push for a 7-year prison sentence for Louis, and was confident he could still win. That made Mickey worried. It seemed like there was something bigger going on that he didn't understand. Later that day, Mickey and Frank looked through the prosecutor's files in a park. That's when Mickey found a shocking piece of information. A knife with Louis' name engraved on it had been discovered at the crime scene. Angry, Mickey went straight to Louis to confront him. Mickey showed Louis the photo of the knife and demanded to know why he had never mentioned it. He reminded Louis that he had asked for the whole truth with no secrets, because a lawyer has to know every detail. With no way out, Louis finally confessed. He had brought a knife to Reggie's apartment, but he said it wasn't to harm her. He explained that his mother was once attacked, and ever since then he carried a knife to protect himself. Still upset, Mickey turned and walked away, leaving Louis standing there. The next day at work, Mickey sees the police chief, Curlin. The year before, they had both been involved in the case of a murdered sex worker. The man found guilty of that crime is already in prison, but Mickey never felt the case was truly closed. He always wondered if the man in prison was actually guilty, or if someone else had set him up. At the time, Mickey had promised himself that he would find the real killer one day, and he never forgot that promise. That night, hoping to relax, Mickey meets his ex-wife, Maggie McPherson, at a bar. She is also a lawyer. They share a drink and talk about their daughter, Haley Holler. Even though they are no longer married, Mickey still cares for her a great deal. Underneath it all, their connection remains strong. And in their hearts, they still have love for each other. The next morning, while looking at the medical pictures of Reggie's injuries, something seems recognizable to Mickey. The bruises on her face look just like the ones from the murder case he dealt with years ago. This realization strikes him hard. The injuries are an exact match, which means the person who hurt Reggie must be the same person from that old murder. Mickey thinks of a past client from 3 years ago, a man named Jesus Martinez. Martinez was found guilty of killing a sex worker. He had always said he was framed and that he could never be so violent, but the evidence against him was very strong. Mickey had not been able to keep him out of prison. Now, seeing how the two cases are linked, Mickey goes to visit Martinez in jail later that same day. When Mickey asks Martinez to tell the whole story again in detail, Martinez says no at first. He is still very upset by what happened, and does not want to go back to that painful memory. Mickey continues to press him, explaining that if his hunch is right, the true criminal could be caught and Martinez might be set free. In the end, Martinez agrees to talk. He remembers being at a bar and taking an interest in a sex worker. Before he left with her, he saw her saying hello to another man. As Mickey listens, he slowly shows Martinez a photograph and asks if that was the man he saw. The instant Martinez looks at the picture, his pain bursts out. He becomes scared and acts out in anger. The photo is of Louis. In that moment, Mickey knows the truth. The killer he has been trying to find all this time is Louis. Later, Mickey tells Frank everything. He is drunk and very angry, and he admits how completely he was tricked. The client they believed was an innocent rich kid is actually a cold and clever psychopath. Years ago, Louis killed a sex worker and made Martinez look like the criminal. Now, he attacked Reggie, pretended to be the victim, and tried to make Charles seem guilty. The most difficult part is that Mickey is now stuck. As Louis's lawyer, the rules of his profession stop him from reporting his own client. Any proof they try to use against Louis would not be allowed in court. What's worse, if they accuse Louis and do not succeed, Louis would go free with a legal victory. This would make it even harder to put him on trial in the future. This was the plan from the very beginning. Louis chose Mickey on purpose. Driven by anger and a feeling of responsibility, Mickey promises himself that he will do whatever he must to send that monster to prison. Very late that night, just as Mickey gets to his house, he calls Maggie to make sure Haley is safe. But when he goes to open the door, he senses something is not right. The lock is already undone. Inside, Louis is sitting there, looking completely at ease. He already knows that Mickey went to see Martinez in prison earlier that day. There is no need to keep up pretenses anymore. Louis openly says that 3 years ago he killed a sex worker and made Martinez look guilty. He also admits that everything he said about Reggie was a lie. He knows Mickey cannot go to the police because the rules of being a lawyer protect him. Before he leaves, Louis changes the subject to put pressure on Mickey. He starts asking about Haley, wanting to know her age, which school she attends, and her daily life. The questions feel planned and like a threat. In that moment, Mickey understands he is dealing with a real psychopath. The next morning, Louis' trial officially starts. This first part of the trial is for both sides to introduce their case to the jury. The prosecutor, Ted, speaks first. He lays out a story meant to trap Louis. When it is Mickey's turn, he stands up calm and professional, defending Louis perfectly as if there was no bad history between them. No matter what, he keeps doing his job and works to free his client. Later that afternoon, Mickey is watching Haley's soccer game when Maggie comes over to him. Fighting back tears, she tells him that Frank has been found dead, shot and killed. The detective says they still do not know who did it. Mickey stays quiet. He acts surprised, but deep inside he is sure Louis is the one responsible. Full of emotion and disgust, Mickey takes out his anger on Val, the friend who first brought him the case with Louis. After drinking too much, Maggie takes Mickey back to his home. That night he cannot sleep, feeling that Frank's death is his fault. The next morning, Mickey gets a call from Detective Langford. The medical report shows that the bullet used to kill Frank came from a very old and uncommon type of handgun. The police are now looking for every person who owns one of those guns. The truth hits Mickey hard. Louis stole his gun and is trying to make it look like Mickey did the murder. That afternoon, the trial continues. The prosecution calls its first witness, Charles. Charles talks about the night of the attack, saying he only spent a little time with Reggie before he left, and that he does not know how she got hurt. When he finishes, Mickey steps up to question him. Mickey first confirms that Charles is left-handed. Then he connects that fact to the bruises on the right side of Reggie's face. The meaning is obvious. Charles says he did not do it, but Mickey's smart questions make him nervous. Under this pressure, Charles starts to fall apart in front of the judge and the jury. After the session ends, Mickey is stopped outside by Detective Langford and Detective Sobel. Sobel hands him a search warrant. Mickey is now a suspect in Frank's murder. While the police search his house, they find an empty gun case for the exact type of gun used in the killing. Mickey calmly explains that his gun was stolen, and he has no idea who took it. Because they have known each other for a long time, Detective Langford believes him, at least for the moment. That afternoon at a coffee shop, Mickey's assistant Lorna brings him a list of people the prosecution plans to use as witnesses. When Mickey spots one specific name, a prisoner called Corliss, he suddenly pays close attention. Corliss is famous for being a professional jailhouse witness, someone who often gets paid to give fake testimony. It also just so happens that he was sharing a cell with Louis. Mickey quickly gives Lorna new orders. Corliss needs to be paid, but not to lie. When the prosecutor calls him to speak in court, he must tell the truth about everything Louis has done. Mickey also tells his assistant to make sure the detective and the police chief are there in the courtroom to listen. Everything else Mickey will take care of himself. The next day in court, the prosecution calls the victim, Reggie, to give her testimony. After the prosecutor is done, Mickey takes over with careful and exact questions. He overwhelms her with his questioning, slowly making her emotional. Little by little, he changes the story to make it look like Reggie set Louis up and tried to blackmail him because he comes from a very rich family. In a short time, Mickey turns the story around so well that the jury starts to question if Reggie is telling the truth. She fights to keep from crying. Even though Louis really did hurt her, Mickey manages to switch things and make her seem like the bad person instead. After Reggie leaves the stand, Mickey brings his own witness forward, Mary. When the prosecutor brings up the knife that was found at the scene, Mary explains that she was the one who told Louis to always carry it for his own safety. Her emotional way of speaking, along with her tears, makes the people in the room feel for her. The courtroom is clearly affected. As they walk out, Mickey reminds Louis that the last part of the trial is next, and it will be Louis's turn to speak. Louis stays calm. The next day, the final hearing starts, and Louis takes the stand. In front of the jury, Louis tells the story of that night with a shaky and emotional voice. He says again that he was framed and points out how the other witnesses were not trustworthy. He makes himself look weak and like someone about to lose everything. The jury seems to feel sorry for him. When Louis is finished, he is sure the case is over. But the prosecutor is not done. Before the judge can give a final decision, the prosecution asks for one more day, saying there is a final witness to be heard. The judge agrees to wait. The next morning, as Mickey walks into the courtroom, he sees Police Chief Curlin, Detective Langford, and Maggie already sitting inside. The session starts and the prosecutor announces the final witness, Corliss, who used to share a cell with Louis. Mickey immediately objects and asks for the testimony to be stopped. The judge says no, and allows Corliss to speak. Corliss starts talking about his close friendship with Louis in jail and the secrets Louis told him. According to Corliss, Louis openly talked about the bad things he had done. Not only did Louis say he beat Reggie and tried to attack her, but he also admitted that years before, he had killed a sex worker. He boasted about getting away with it by making an innocent man named Martinez take the blame. The police chief looks very upset and suddenly walks out of the courtroom. Louis becomes very scared. He never told anyone in prison these things. Mickey acts just as surprised, pretending he does not know how Corliss could have this information. In truth, everything is going exactly the way Mickey wanted. Mickey was not trying to convince the judge or the jury. His real targets were Police Chief Curlin and Detective Langford. Once Curlin leaves the room, Mickey finally takes action. He uses his sharp questioning to put a lot of pressure on Corliss, trapping him until Corliss has no more answers. What first sounded like strong testimony quickly becomes weak and doubtful. Before giving a final decision, the judge asks for a short break. In the bathroom, Louis bursts out in anger, knowing that this whole situation was Mickey's plan to catch him. Mickey does not answer. He stays completely calm and just walks away, leaving Louis filled with rage. A little while later, everyone comes back into the courtroom. After thinking it all over, the judge decides that Louis is not guilty. Mickey wins the case completely. Louis is officially set free. Outside the courthouse, Mary thanks Mickey for saving her dear son, but right in the middle of that moment, Curlin suddenly shows up and arrests Louis for the murder of a sex worker 3 years ago. Mary is totally shocked. As the police take Louis away, Mickey slowly moves closer to him and quietly reminds Louis never to doubt the best lawyer in the country. After that, Detective Langford walks up to Mickey, clearly very impressed. It becomes clear that Mickey was only pretending to defend Louis, carefully planning to set him up for a much more serious crime. By getting Louis cleared in the assault case, Mickey made it possible to charge him with murder instead. Before going home, Mickey's driver Earl gives him a gun just for safety. Earl congratulates him, saying that another one of Mickey's cases has ended well. Not long after Mickey arrives home, Maggie calls him suddenly. She tells him that Louis has already been let go again because the police chief does not have enough proof to keep him in jail. Hearing this, Mickey immediately tells Maggie to take Haley and go stay at her mother's house. He knows Louis will come looking for them. In the middle of this fear, Mickey remembers the tracking device still on Louis's ankle. He quickly calls Val and asks him to find out where Louis is right now. When Louis shows up, Mickey is already outside Maggie's house waiting for him. Calmly, Mickey takes out his gun and warns Louis to stay away from his daughter. Louis is not scared. He knows Mickey cannot hurt him without ruining his own career as a lawyer. Even if he is forced to leave now, he can always come back another time. He can keep coming back night after night, day after day to scare and bother Haley. Mickey stays very calm. He knows he does not have to do anything himself. All at once, a group of bikers that Mickey once defended arrives and attacks Louis violently, hitting him badly. Mickey simply turns around and walks away without any fear. That night, when Mickey gets back to his own house, he is shocked to find Mary waiting for him inside. It is now clear that both the mother and the son are psychopaths. Mickey tells her to get out, but Mary suddenly shoots him. Luckily, Mickey has his own gun. He shoots back and kills her right there. A few days later, Mickey is allowed to leave the hospital. During the drive home, his driver Earl tells him the news. Martinez has finally been let out of prison, and Louis has been arrested once more. This time, Police Chief Curlin has found strong proof connecting Louis to the murder from 3 years ago. As they keep driving down the road, a familiar sight appears. The motorcycle gang shows up again. Mickey stays relaxed and tells his driver to stop the car. One of the bikers walks up with a new request. Another member of their group has been arrested, and this new case is even more complicated than before. It involves drugs and a relationship with a police officer's wife. Mickey just smiles. For loyal clients like them, he decides to take this case for free, and that is the end of the story. If you like this video, please press the like button, share it with your friends and subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video.